Last season, 132 players played over 1,000 innings, and out of all those players, there was one who stood out for all the wrong reasons: Juan Soto. Statistically, he was the worst defensive player in the entire league. That's not an exaggeration. When it comes to fielding run value, a stat that measures a player's defensive contribution, Soto ranked dead last, tied with Joe Adele. But here's where it gets crazy. Joe Adele had an excuse. He was learning a new position in center field, which is no small feat. But Soto? He was in a position he'd played over 5,000 innings in. There was no excuse for the disaster that unfolded on the field. Soto wasn't just bad in one area. He was bad across the board. He was tied for last among outfielders in runs prevented and outs above average. That means every time a ball was hitting his direction, it was almost like a guarantee that it wasn't getting caught. His once vaunted arm, which had a +3 value just a season ago, fell to a -2 this year. What happened? The guy just couldn't make the plays. And the craziest part? He only recorded one official error in the entire season. But that's not what makes a good defender. It's the plays you don't make. And Soto wasn't making them. Take a look at some of his most notable blunders. Against the Marlins, he botched a routine ground ball that allowed an easy RBI single. Then, in a critical moment against the Nationals, a fly ball that should have been a simple out turned into a disaster. The ball sailed over his head, and instead of securing it, he let it drop, giving up a triple and eventually contributing to a walk-off loss. And it didn't stop there. When the ball was hit over his head, it didn't matter if he had time to settle under it. He still couldn't make the catch. Even the most routine plays were slipping through his fingers. But it wasn't just those isolated mistakes. The real problem was his complete lack of range. Whether he was chasing a fly ball or trying to charge in on a hit, Soto looked like he was moving in slow motion. Against the Cubs, he had an opportunity to track a ball that was well within reach. But instead, he somehow turned himself around and made a half-hearted attempt. On another play, against Ronald Acuna Jr., he took a bizarre route to a ball that ended up dropping just in front of him. This wasn't just a few bad moments. It was all season long, and the numbers prove it. Metrics show that Soto was awful in every direction on the field. He couldn't move backward, forward, or sideways with any semblance of speed or accuracy. And it wasn't just a coincidence. He allowed the most triples in all of Major League Baseball. Sure, some of those weren't entirely his fault, but it's hard to ignore how long it took him to recover balls in the outfield and throw them back in. The ripple effect on his team was undeniable. But here's the twist. This wasn't always the story of Juan Soto. Back in 2024, he was far from this disastrous. So is there hope for a turnaround? If he puts in the off-season work to refine his skills, maybe, just maybe, we could see a redemption story in the making. But the question remains, will he step up, or is this the start of an irreversible decline? Juan Soto's 2025 season was a defensive nightmare. But can he bounce back? Or is this the beginning of the end? Only time will tell. But if he's not willing to put in the work, his days in the outfield could be numbered.